Okay, here we are another Thursday night. Welcome. I'm going to take questions, but just one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is perspective. I'm training. So many people come to martial arts for fighting, right? I know I did, right? I wanted to be able to defend myself practically in case I ever needed to. It's a good reason. But somebody coming more as an adult, 30s, 40s, 50s, should fighting be their number one reason for practice? Everyone should know how to defend themselves. But I will say, even if you read my book, the addendum, the back, is all about self-defense without any word about technique. No punching, no blocking, no kicking. Everything is the mental side. And so many times I've said that my way of teaching is to teach you how not to fight. Because I've had incidents in my life where I saw other people get in fights. Could be good friends. They may have pulled me into it, or on the road rage, where people want to get physical. And we have to be, as martial artists, we have to be better than that. So I'm a big believer in the martial art being good enough that it's not much different than having a gun on you. And so, do you want to shoot people? I mean, if you do, something's wrong in the head. And so the idea is, if you get in a fight, somebody's going to get hurt. Could be you, could be them. It could be worse. Somebody could be killed. Could be you, could be them. What else could happen? You can get in a lot of trouble. You can get sued. You could be criminally liable. You can end up in prison. So martial arts without the mental side, without controlling the emotion, without learning how to control the breath, is not martial arts to me at all. A great, strong military is all about avoiding the need to fight. Everybody looks and says it's too strong. We don't want to deal with that. So being strong enough, being confident enough, and that actually is a big key right there, that word, confidence. Because what kind of a person, I'll say something that I've seen, you get cut off. You cut somebody off, they cut you off, whatever. You're yelling at each other, giving the finger, whatever. And then they stop, or you stop, and you're in traffic, and then one gets out of the car. What are we going to accomplish there? If you're the one that's so angry, and I don't know, let's say you took a crowbar, and you just go over there and hit him in the head. This feels better? You drive away and that person feels better? This made their life better somehow? I beat somebody down today. So this is the mentality that I think most mature minds would agree it's wrong. And that's where real martial arts practice comes. If children all grew up with real martial arts and they learn the right way, meaning respecting each other first and foremost, then they'd be the least likely to get in a fight. Let's say you cut somebody off. Somebody's mad, giving you the finger, high flashing you, flashing their high beams, or whatever. They cut you off next, whatever. Sorry. Sorry. That's it. And if it was the other way around, you instigate them to come to you. What did you do to do that? Did you give them the finger? Did you high beam them? Did you beat behind them all mad? That's a stranger. You don't know what you're inviting into your world. So even for self-preservation, this is not wise. What do we say in the Bagua model first? Wisdom. Why is that? Make good decisions, make good choices. Pay attention to what works and what doesn't work. And then the confidence one. Do you deserve to be confident? Have you done the work to be confident in what you do? Think of your career. Think of the work you do. If you're good at it, you're confident. Nobody can take that away from you. So no need to ever be jealous of somebody else. No need to put somebody else down, right? You know your stuff. And that's how we should live our lives, is you should know your stuff. You should master your life, yourself. Mastering the martial arts, people think of the technical skills. And yeah, that's a part of it. A sidekick is a sidekick. A sidestep is a sidestep. You know, your ability to react and respond physically, yes, you want to master that. But there's nothing more important than mastering yourself. And that's the person whose buttons can't be pushed so easily by others. You know how to breathe if you get upset, and you know how to change that very quickly. So I always feel that jealousy is the ugliest emotion, because if number one is respect, and someone else is doing well, or maybe doing as well, or maybe better than you, why is jealousy helpful? Why do we feel jealous? If someone's better than me at something, then I should be inspired to get better. I should be glad for them, happy someone has a skill of some sort. And then if I want to be that good, work harder. Because if I'm the best one, what drives me? Think about that, right? I would rather people be better than me so that I'm inspired to train harder and in other words, see the possibilities. It's not martial arts, but it is physical mastery of some form. The old Cirque du Soleil, if you've seen those shows, the things they can do with the human body are just beyond belief in many cases. The reaction should just be how wonderful that is. You know, if I can punch at, obviously the time's not real, but let's say I can throw 3 punches in 1 second and someone else can throw 6 punches in 1 second. Well, I should know that the human body is capable of throwing 6 punches in 1 second, because if nobody ever beats my 3, I can think how I'm the best. I'm so great. And yet somebody I never heard of throwing 6. I don't know, so I'm not driven or believe I can do that. I'm reminded of the 4-minute mile, when people thought it was impossible for the human body to run a mile in 4 minutes. And then what happened as soon as one person did it? Many have done it since. So how powerful is our mind? So I'm going to open the floor for questions. I know there's just a couple of you here, so raise your hand if you have an interesting question or topic. Yes, Ms. Bowman.
So I have this new sort of job, and I have to apply a lot of organization skills I haven't used in a long time. So I definitely want to do well at it. So I have to work hard at it. I'm not fully confident, but in this situation, I think I shouldn't be fully confident. I just have to work and make sure I get all the details in. Um, it's sort of an administrative thing, not my strength, but I have to work hard at it. So I think I have to earn my own confidence. I have some of it, but it's not that I'm so good at it that I can just automatically do it. it's taking work and a lot of concentration. So I'm having to learn a new habit in a sense. Um, so it kind of puts me in a new situation.
And that's a great thing, because that's how we grow, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think I was probably ready for it. I never thought I'd do it, but here I am doing it. So, but it means I have to fit in the other things in my life also. So I just have to. I found that I can't be totally structured. I have to give myself a certain leeway to focus in something, let go of it, focus in that or something else, let go of it. But um, I'm doing it. I'm just sort of doing it that way. And I did get back to qigong this past week. Um, so I'm adding that back into my life, although it's very limited. Anyway, I just wanted to share that because I don't have a question. It's just sort of an issue.
You have experience with this sort of work, or it's just been a really long time?
It's been a long time, and I've never really done this. It's like president of a club. So I have to make up agendas and I have to fit all the details in, of which there were many more than I expected. And then I have to be in touch with people a lot. Just a lot of details to get done.
How's that feeling?
It feels challenging, but okay. I think I was ready for it.
Hmm.
I'm not generally a person who joins those kinds of organizations. I was a very inactive member for a lot of years. And all of a sudden I'm president.
Oh my goodness. You nervous?
But it feels as if I'm ready for something like that.
You feel nervous, anxious,
Um,
or
I
excited?
don't I don't really feel anxious. I guess I'm a little bit, I'm not going to say nervous. I feel as if I have to be vigilant to remember all the details or to make sure I have them.
And you feel capable?
I feel as if I can do it. I'll forget a few things here and there, but I feel as if I can do it.
Beautiful. You mind sharing your age?
81.
81, and what is that, the old dog, new tricks?
Yeah, it is actually.
But you know what? That's what keeps us alive. That's what keeps us fresh, learning new things and challenging ourselves. I learned a long time ago from a teacher saying that what happens when we're heading towards death is most of our thoughts are in the past. But we can still learn and grow and just live on if our thoughts are what I'm doing now and why I'm doing it for the future. In other words, new things, learning new things. You're always going to grow any age. And I think too many people, I mean, geez, I see them in the 50s. Too many people just they're done. And I
Yeah.
think they spent too much energy maybe in a career they didn't really like or something to that effect. They just figured their whole life was about trading hours for dollars. They live their life and they go to work and somebody else is deciding what they're worth. And so they don't really want to be there, and they're always watching the clock for when they can leave. And their break time is what they look forward to most, and when they get off of work is when they look forward to most. But the people that live life in a way that it's more of a reward are those who are always striving for new things, learning new things, and doing really what they choose to do as opposed to what they have to do. But I do want to, when I say something like that, some people can take it wrong, but not everybody can do what they love and make enough money to make a living. Yeah, that's probably true. But then there comes the attitude of gratitude. If you have an attitude of gratitude in the work that you do, then you're grateful that you have a job and that you can have the lifestyle that you're living. If you're not happy with that lifestyle, then you should strive for more, learn more, be and do more, which is even what you're doing now at 81. But people who just keep going through their life and say, you know, I'm going to retire in 30 years, and they're just looking for that date in the future of when they retire, it's like, well, then what? And life becomes so boring and unrewarding if you don't have any sort of goals, or you're not learning anything or trying anything new. And another thing that happens with that is if all your free time is Netflix, for example, right, or drinking in a bar, and that's you're off, and then you have to get back to work, right? It's like that's your whole life. Then trying something new can be just too much fear, because you like the security of just showing up and getting a paycheck. So I salute you for your bravery and your willingness. How many people lose their minds in their 70s and 80s, right? Look at you, sharp as a tack, and taking on something that's a big responsibility, I'm sure. When you say president of anything, that's a big responsibility. That whole organization's looking to you now. So I'm impressed. Another question. Mr. Aviles, what do you got?
Let me check my notes. I did the mindfulness lesson 7 this weekend. So I went up to the woods and I camped out, and I got a nice day to just think and be by myself. But there was one thing about the Art of Archery book, which I was reading that day. I thought it was interesting and said, whose aim consists in hitting a spiritual goal. So with that book, it was more a spiritual goal that he was trying to attain, not the physical, being able to hit the actual target with the arrow. It was more aiming himself, I don't know, metaphysically, or I wasn't quite following. But then you think of the idea like, sin, missing the mark, and I guess that's what life's all about. Is you're constantly trying to set goals for yourself and attain them, and then the process, the discomfort that you feel, the discomfort that Miss Beaumont might feel, the uncertainty, or the that not being confident. It's all part of the process, and then when you attain it, that's all part of growing. But I don't really have a question.
Yeah, it's an interesting subject, though. That does lead me to something. Why am I not coming up here? Hello. So, 2 books on that sort of subject really had great influence and helped me in my practice. So in college, I was in exercise physiology. We're talking 18, 19 years old. I was in exercise physiology, kinesiology, all how the body works, adult fitness, really how to train people. And we were in with the physical education, same kind of people that become gym teachers, essentially. And so we had electives that were even sports. And one of the classes I took was tennis. And then the teacher's required book was called The Inner Game of Tennis. And then you read this book and you're thinking it's about tennis, but it's not about tennis. It really was just the inner game. And what I learned from that book was consistent with the Art of Archery, right? That's the title of that one. This idea of, in order to be able to hit the target accurately, it's a complete letting go of trying. So that doesn't happen with the beginner. It's impossible. And that's actually, I gave my daughter that book because with her pitching, you got to be able to hit your target. So it's very practical. And without question, in my training in Bagua, I had the spiritual experience of hitting targets. Hard to describe, but I'm going to try. So I did thousands of reps every day, over and over and over, thousands of reps, using a long staff. And I'd hit little balls, or I'd hit in between like a ring, like a chain link fence. I'd mark one and I'd put the staff there. And of course, learning, you're practicing, you miss a lot. You miss a lot. But what I found happened when I started to get more accurate was something strange happened with my vision. It's like, when you take a camera and you zoom in on something and everything behind it becomes blurry? Not zoom in, focus. You focus on something and then everything behind it becomes blurry, right? That's probably the best way I can describe it. So one of the things we used to do was hit a empty water bottle, small empty water bottle. Just that would be like striking an ankle or a foot. And so you chase it around my yard, for example, or out in a field. I'd go out in big fields and just chase it around, keep hitting it, bang, 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 or hanging something up and just like a little plastic golf ball or something. And just like, imagining some defense, turning, and then just shooting after it. And eventually what happened was, all I had to do was think what I wanted to hit. And it felt like the staff would go by itself. It's the same with the hand, but it just seems more impressive with the staff because it's a long staff. It's a long stick. And there were retreats or camps with other students, and we would have challenges like that, and I'd be able to go bang, 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 hit things like, in a way that it even shocked me, because even though I was practicing like that, it was a very funny experience that it seemed like the staff just went by itself. If I had intention to hit something small, something narrow, it would just hit it head dead on. You think of someone like Stephen Curry in the NBA, he could just sit back and throw it from 40 feet, swish. It's that kind of a thing where somebody practices something so much that it's just, you really don't miss anymore. And it absolutely felt like a spiritual experience. It became not physical, because I know if I tried or if I thought about it, it's like you get in your own way. I would get in my own way and then I wouldn't do as well instantly. But when I didn't think and I just let it flow, and I'm trying to do this, and bang, 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 it would just go there. Completely out of my mind. Yeah, that's the best way I can put it. And so those two books actually talk about that pretty clearly. The Art of Archery and the Inner Game of Tennis. See, in tennis, the idea there was, it's like you serve and they hit the net, or how they hit a good shot and not a good shot. And it's the thinking. And many times it's the pressure. Like, this is a big shot. This is a big moment. I can't make a mistake. And that's when they make a mistake. And it's the difference between, as this year we have the Olympics, it's the difference between even the gold and the silver. I mean, you can say the medal winners and those who don't even place, but how much different technically is the gold and the silver medalist? Maybe another day the silver medalist is better technically, but that day it's like they perform out of their mind. And that's what it is. Repetition is the mother of skill. So if you do something so many times, perfect practice. You can't do it mindlessly. You have to do it mindfully. You have to be, every one counts. Every single rep counts. And you practice and you practice. It gets to the point where your body knows what to do and your mind, your brain, your thinking can only get in the way. You literally have to get out of your mind and let your body perform. And that's true for any great athlete. I mean, I'm sure it's the same. I'm not a musician, but I'm sure it's the same for a musician who can just let loose and just play amazingly. And I don't mean copying someone else. I mean just create, even in the moment. So that experience transfers directly into day-to-day life, the way we get so caught up in the details instead of just living, just responding appropriately by living consciously. In other words, as we get older, we should get wiser. So when someone approaches you in a certain way, maybe as a young person you'd get angry, and maybe another time, you feel stressed. But then another time, the same sort of things that got you angry or stressed at another time, now you're just take a breath and relax. Because you're wiser, and also your response in the past did not get you good results. And so you learn by paying attention. This is living consciously. You recognize that acting this way gets a bad result and acting this other way gets a good result, and you learn to get the better result until finally there's no thought there. You just respond better. You respond more appropriately. If you are physically attacked and you've practiced so many times how to defend, your body will automatically defend. I just had a funny thing happen last week when I was there up in New Jersey with you guys. Well, not Mr. Avalos, he's South Carolina, but anyway, it was just a funny thing happened with my brother-in-law. He walked in and he goes to shake my hand and he tries to pull me off balance, just try to surprise me. And it's just funny because of Bagua, he pulled himself towards me. And it's little things like that that tell you when the body has a reflex. Because I didn't expect what he was doing. It just, he went to pull me, but my body rooted. I didn't try to pull him. I didn't try to root myself. I was just already rooted. And that's the amazing thing about the Bagua and the circle walking. So when you get there, Mr. Avalez, it's a very serious component of practice where everything really comes together. It's a pure moving meditation that develops a structure in the body that is conducive to protect yourself without even having to protect yourself. You automatically carry yourself in a different way where your body also functions internally in a more healthy way. You're not going to have a posture of stress. You're going to have a posture that's centered, balanced, settled. And when the body's settled and the dantian is full, then automatically qi and blood flow freely. And that becomes a habit in how you carry yourself. And the body and the mind will reflect each other. In other words, and this is something I see in clinic a lot, of course, where people hold all this tension. It all comes from thinking, which leads to emotions, which leads to a reaction in the body, a physical reaction in the body. So you're carrying tension, blocking qi and blood, and actually creating a possible illness over time, depending where that tension is. If you carry yourself in a way that creates tension around your liver is the filter to the blood and the whole body purification. And if that's not clear, you can have big problems. A lot of frustration feeling, a lot of sluggishness, a lack of energy, depression, just because the liver is not open and free. It's like driving a car with a dirty oil filter. You only can do that for so long before you're going to have problems. The oil filter has to be changed. Well, we can't change. I mean, I guess you could get a transplant, but in reality, you're not supposed to be able to change your liver. You have one, and we want to keep it clear. So good posture, open, relaxed where the organs are, is going to help the function of your whole body and create optimal health. So you see one thing leading to another, leading to another. Self-defense, how do I carry myself? Same way, like walking the circle. I walk the circle with this awareness, raising the spirit, whole body working together, very conscious. Those people don't get jumped. Those people don't get surprise muggings. You look like trouble. And so the same thing that can help you walking into a new job and handling new things that can be very stressful and challenging and you're not used to and it's all new to you, but you're coming in from a place of a center. And you know how to breathe when things start to get out of hand. So you know how to calm your mind so you can focus on the task at hand, which is really what Miss Beaumont was talking about earlier. You know, she does this for one thing and get good at it, and then she has to do this. There's a lot of tasks, right? This is the real training. Real martial arts practice should make your day-to-day life better. That's exactly what should be happening. And then when you're centered and balanced yourself, let me go back to what I said earlier. Why be jealous of anybody? Why wouldn't you be confident knowing yourself? Then, Mr. Avila, as you said, about having goals, like having goals and striving. Yeah, that can give purpose, but what kind of goal? There's goals that help many, and there's goals that help yourself. Goals give direction. But what should be, saying should is a tricky one, but I'm going to say it anyway. What should be, and that's because you said about sin, what should be your ultimate goal? What do you think, Mr. Avalos?
To
$1
leave
million?
the world off better than you found it. I mean, anywhere you go, you should leave better than when you arrive there. You know, whether it's the people that you encounter, or picking up trash from the floor. Even if it's not leaving any. Like when I go hiking with my kids, I tell them that you don't want to leave any trace that you were there, because it's such a peaceful place. Like my younger son, Ryan, he's a little more loquacious. He likes to talk. So whereas Calvin's more calm and reserved. So I like to observe everything when we're there. And whereas Ryan will be hidden in all the trees with sticks and stuff and scaring all the animals and stuff. I'm like, buddy, you need to take a step back and look and see what all the things that you're missing. There's deer right there bedding in the trees. If you slow down and you quiet, you could see all the things that you're missing. So, but I guess that's off topic. But yeah, I guess just leaving everything better, or at least not worse than how you found it when you.
That is undoubtedly an excellent way to live day to day, making those kind of habits. Absolutely. But let me ask you one more question then. Let's try to go higher. What do you mean when you say miss the mark? What's the mark that you missed?
I mean, I guess it could be a subjective thing depending on who you are, what your values are. But just being the best in every aspect of your life, whether it's being the best parent, being the best employee, or if you're running your own business, being the best entrepreneur, being the best student in class, but not in a competitive way where you're trying to be better than other people. You're just trying to better yourself gradually, so that.
To what end?
Self-mastery.
So the original word, sin, meaning to miss the mark, why it's actually usually connected to religion. But few people know this. the real mark, this is absolutely consistent with the martial arts goal from my perspective and how I teach and how I train. So first, know yourself. Discover your ego. And everything from the challenges of holding a stance to balance to defending a punch to sparring where somebody's actually trying to get to you, your reaction to getting punched in the face, you know, the possible fear that you have to overcome. Do you get angry when you get challenged or when you get hurt or when you get beat? How do you respond? All of this is discovering your ego, your strengths and your weaknesses. Some people come into this world very, very strong and they can beat down just about anybody. And then there's the weak who have a lot more to overcome within themselves to rise themselves up to be able to live a better life, right? And if you don't have awareness of that, there's no way to get better. I'm of the opinion that that another thing that martial arts teaches from the perspective of the first most important thing is respect, is the strong help the weak to rise up. They know they're strong, so they help the weak, they help pick them up. You see? They have compassion for them. They don't feel superior, but many things are easier for them. And so they help lift the other up. And it's not carrying them all the time. It's actually challenging them so they can become stronger themselves. But if there's no self-awareness, there's not going to be any improvement. And then again, you're going to have envy and jealousy coming from the weak. So first you have to discover yourself, discover the ego. And then destroy it. What is destroy it? This is the realization of who and what you really are, which is the mark. There was a point in time when we separated from God. We became something separate from all that is, from Tao, from nature. And so I would advise you be a little careful with the more superficial goals of money and material things and making yourself better. All good, all fine, but that's not the end all be all, because God is source. You know, it's like you're one drop of the ocean. You're getting back to the ocean. Getting back to the ocean is the ultimate goal. And that's when you can supersede the ego. You're no longer Danny. I'm no longer Raymond. You know, Ms. Beaumont is no longer Natalie. It's just you transcend that, realizing that you're much more than that. And there's nothing between us. There's no separation. And we're just experiencing another perspective. That's it. But we're the same. That's why if I hurt someone else, I know I'm hurting myself. So all we can do then, let's say in these trying times, in these uncertain times, should be the opposite of what I've been observing. With all this division, it should be the opposite. We should be helping each other. We should be teaming up. We should be grouping together to lift each other up and make life better for each other. Not attacking each other, hating each other, knocking each other, calling each other stupid. This is what I'm experiencing. It's heartbreaking because this is missing the mark. We couldn't miss the mark as a society. We couldn't miss the mark any greater. Call it manipulation, brainwashing, mind control, whatever the heck it is. There's no realization there of who and what we are. And therefore, it's their fault. They're the problem. That religion, that skin color, that whatever. We need to come together. Martial arts practiced well should teach and result in experiencing the oneness. is something that is never forgotten. And once you have that and you live in accordance with that, you're no longer sinning. You're no longer missing the mark. You realize there was never a separation except your imagination. And our mind is the problem because we think all these things separate from what we really are. Now, before we go to meditation, I want to review the point of meditation, because so many think it's a relaxation, it's a 5-minute, time out, it's a recharge, so I can strive more in this world. And I'm going to say that those can be benefits like a side effect. If you have that kind of drive, that sense of purpose, you're going to have much more energy and clarity to pursue it if you're coming from the right place. But if you're going to keep going and striving and burning the candle at both ends and living stressed and worrying and fearing and guilty of things you can't change, and treating your neighbor not as you would treat yourself, well, again, you couldn't miss the mark anymore. So meditation, the practice, is to experience that oneness. So let's review. You need a focal point. You got to bring all this thinking to one place, and you stay on that one place. And once you somewhat master the ability to stay on one thing, you can release it and just become awareness, pure consciousness. And that's when you no longer exist. Your body dissolves from your senses. You leave your senses. If you can do that, you'll notice a very unique experience, something that you never forget, and something that you'll want to get back to every day. And it's going to thicken that connection to the source. You'll know, not because what I say or what you read in a book or some other teacher you listen to. You'll know from yourself. Truth is truth. When you experience truth, all this other stuff that gets in the way, all this stuff that is taking us off the mark, becomes far less important and far less stressful. You're not bothered much. You know that there's something so much greater, and that you only can do what you can do. Why stress? Why make yourself sick over this world that we have to? It's like a constant running on a like the mouse on the wheel. Stop. Sit still. Tune in. Then, when you have that, you can maintain the connection any time of day. You can take a breath, center yourself to function better in your day-to-day, whether it's a job or relationship or with your children. And you tune into the truth, because you're like the inner game of tennis. You get out of your own way. Let's go to meditation.